Sorry.
I shall do my best to limit myself to a period of people sometimes ask me, why are you standing as a candidate in parliamentary election? And my answer is, this man made me do it. The main thinking behind it was that as a candidate, you have to put down a £500 deposit, which if you don't get 5% of the vote, actually 5% of the vote plus one vote, then you lose that deposit. On the other hand, on the advantage side, if you stand as a candidate, you're allowed to produce an election address which the Royal Mail will deliver to every house in the constituency. So we have produced 45,000 leaflets, which, courtesy of the posties, are, even as we speak, being delivered to every house in the world. And so far, I believe we've had one response, Graham. A very positive response, and he's not actually going to vote for it. But he was impressed by the leaflet. As a candidate, I've attended a number of meetings. In fact, I've attended more political meetings, mainstream political meetings, in the last couple of weeks than I've attended in the last 10 years or something like that. These are mainstream. So I've had the privilege of hearing people from the Labour Party, people from the Conservative Party, and people from the Liberal Democrats talking at great length about British politics. And I have to say that I'm deeply underwhelmed by the whole experience. One is brought to mind of that expression about being savaged by a dead sheep. These people really don't have a clue, and they're not engaging with the issues. Basically, what's happened is they've had a model they've been working on for the last 40 years, and this model is privatisation. Susanna talked about neoliberalism, the idea that the market will provide, that the state is too big, etc., etc., and that's what's been motivated for a number of years. And just around about 3 years ago, a cloud no bigger than a man's hand appeared on the horizon, and it was to do with the housing market originally. And I started to read articles in the Financial Times, Financial Press about things are not really quite right. And then I went away on holiday in 2007 and had a glorious 2 weeks where I had no newspapers, no radio, no television, and I was in a mobile phone black hole. And then I started to come back to London and went into a newsagent and bought a paper, and all the papers have got this stuff about this big crash in the markets. And it's been going on since then. Well, initially I remember Ladywell Stransky writing in the Times in around about September and saying, did you see the experience of the collapse of capitalism? Oh, well, it all seems to have blown over by now. I don't think we're going to hear any more of it by Christmas. And that, of course, it just didn't say which Christmas, did it? They say about economists, but why did God create economists? Well, to make the weather forecasters look good. And certainly Ladywell Stransky has managed to do that. So what we've had is a rolling crisis. Somebody described it quite early on as a slow motion train wreck, because it was apparent to me and a number of other people that there were very, very deep problems. In fact, I was surprised we hadn't seen more problems in the wake of the dot-com crash in 2000. And since then, it started off as a financial crisis, as a sub-loan crisis, and then it started to turn into a liquidity crisis very quickly. People were saying there's not enough money around, and that led to bankruptcies and things like Golden Rock, but also of a number of financial corporations. However, of course, the solution to that, the state bailed these people out. But then the crisis spread even further and further, to the point where these bailouts are not being quite enough. And in fact, what's happening now, as we've seen just recently with Greece, sovereign states themselves are suffering a solvency crisis. So the whole thing is very, very serious. People are now talking about the possibility of the euro area collapsing, which is, the potential of that is just unthinkable. And of course, the solution to this is, oh, we're going to cut public expenditure, which of course will only make things worse. And these people are, at one level, keeping up a brave face, but every so often, the mask slips. And in fact, Susan Wise by name, but not by nature, was speaking at a meeting, and there was a little bit of mention about this problem of finances and how the possibility of these government's discretionary grants level being cut. If that happens, it could be a 10% cut in council income, which will be the largest cuts local government has probably ever experienced. And she just said, well, I just don't know where the money's coming from. So that is the they have no solutions at all. And really, it's up to us to fill that gap. And I just sort of think that we should, final point, I'm quite fond of cooking. Nice cooking, you understand, not on a day-to-day basis. And I've always thought about writing a book about politics and cooking. And not just things about making omelettes without breaking eggs, but scrambled eggs. Because have you ever noticed when you make scrambled eggs, you beat away the scrambled eggs, nothing happens. You beat away for 30, 40 years in my case, and then all of a sudden, it all starts to come together. And I think eggs are scrambling quite nicely in Lewisham today. Okay, thank you very much.